That's sourdough Sam.
No, Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Disrespect to Sourdeath Sam will not continue.
Hello, everyone. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on? Some of you might be wondering, who is this guy? What is he doing here? My name is Sourdeath Sam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this is 49ers Public Access. I am so happy and disappointed at the same time to be here. It's been a confusing, disappointing season without a doubt. This game was such a culmination of all the frustrations, just classic slipping on a banana peel activity from this football team. It's really, really unfortunate. It is the reality we have now accepted. Just like the reality, by the way, that Brad will be coming on very shortly here. But if anyone who's been watching my show has tuned in, or if you're just hearing this analogy for the first time, I've used it several times this season. Sometimes you just go into the casino and nothing hits. You go to the blackjack table, you lose a bunch of money. You go to the slots, you lose a bunch of money. And your instinct is you hit it so big last time you came to the casino. You were winning here and winning there. You felt like the man. And the last thing we need to do is do anything other than to accept that it's just not our day in Vegas. Do not pull any more money out of the ATM. Do not invest any more into this experience. At this stage, take your last few dollars and just enjoy it as long as you can, as best as possible. Because the truth is, this is not our year. I know there's like a 0.1% chance that we're going to make the playoffs. Not only is it not going to happen, even if it did happen, we're effectively limping into it. We'd be setting ourselves up for slaughter. I just do not have that same belief that we could be in it to win it. And it's okay. I do want to ask someone very close to the team how they're doing. This is my friend, the one and only Kyle 5000. Hey, buddy. I know times have been tough. How you doing?
Yeah, brother, this sucks pretty bad. If you could do me a favor and just reach around behind me, there's going to be a power cable. If you could just yank that out of the wall, that'd be much appreciated. I don't think I can answer another question about Devondre Campbell.
Yeah, dude, I'm not going to pull the plug on you, dude. We've got too big of a show ahead of us right now. We got Brad Graham coming on to the show, so graciously hosting us on his channel as well. What are your thoughts on that?
That actually makes me pretty happy. I know Brad is a good friend of the show. He's a good friend of mine, and I know he pays attention to his stuff. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say, even though it's probably about how bad we are.
Oh, it's all going to be about how bad you are. But Kyle, we're going to keep you, man. Don't worry, you're not going to lose your job. You're doing okay. Listen, speaking of losing, let's talk about my sports betting habits. Sourdeath Sam's $5 pick'em. Haven't won once, but this time it's going to be different, and I say that every time. I usually only do touchdowns. I put down $5 to make over 1,000. If you want to try your hand at this, go ahead and give it a shot. bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Look, folks, I got Gus Edwards getting a touchdown against Denver. I know that pass defense is stingy, but who knows? Maybe Gus slips in. Javonte Williams, speaking of stingy, he's been stingy with his own performance, but I got him getting a touchdown too. Why not? Thursday night bets, they always turn out well, right? Nico Collins got him, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, A.J. Brown, and Jonnu Smith, who's having a hot run. I got them all getting tutties. So if you want in on this action, bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. All right. Enough of that. Look, folks, I do one last... Brad's coming on the show, I promise. I do one last segment before I hop on to my guest And it's highlighting a performance in the previous game that I think stood out from the rest. Now, it's been harder to identify these folks because our performances have not been that great. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
All right, folks. I got a big dog, and he's a big dog. And frankly, he's been a pretty big dog for us all season. And that man is Fred Warner. Fred Warner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
15 tackles with a fractured ankle. 15. The most tackles out of anyone all season in any game. 15 tackles on a fractured ankle. I was almost going to give this award to Jake Moody, but let's give credit where credit's due here. 15 tackles with a fractured ankle, the most out of any 49ers on defense this season. And let me tell you what else. There's another reason why I'm highlighting Fred Warner right now. He is currently 7th in Pro Bowl voting. 7th linebacker in Pro Bowl voting. Are you out of your fucking mind? He deserves better than that, folks. He deserves better than that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, folks, if you are watching this right now, do him a favor. I know times have been tough. I know things haven't been that great. But give that man a little credit. He is better than 7. You know it. I know it. And that's why he's my dog of the day.
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
Brad's been replaced, says Gabriel. Not so fast. Not only has Brad not been replaced, Brad is in the place. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring on my guest, the one and only Brad Graham. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Oh, I am doing phenomenal. Hopefully you can hear me and everything's all good, but
No
glad to be
echo,
back
which
on
is
the show.
very rare for the show. Usually there's an echo, an unbearable echo that no one can deal with.
But I've just been sitting back watching, and gosh, I love this show so much. It's the best.
Dude. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me at your house. I really appreciate it. My favorite part of streaming on your channel is the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, where if you didn't have your glasses on, the beard might like confuse people. They're like, is that what he looks like without a hat on? But no. We're partners in crime though. We all go to the same beard club meetings. Secret society, you're not invited. But it's great to have you, man. Are you ready for the holidays?
Absolutely, getting geared up. Obviously, we got the kiddos, so doing all our last minute shopping, getting all that stuff out of the way. So yeah, we're absolutely ready to go.
Yeah, I am not ready at all. I'm very jealous that you're ready. You seem to be busy and ready, which is an enviable position.
You gotta stay.
You got to stay ready. I'm not ready. I have like a spreadsheet that I'm tackling tonight where I'm like, all right, these are my nieces. I got to get them that thing from Sephora or whatever. But we got bigger fish to fry. We don't have people here to listen to Sephora gifts. We have them here to listen to us getting rammed again. The 49ers, we blew another important game with the final score of 6-12. Not a pretty score, not a pretty game. What are your thoughts? What are your takeaways from this game? Obviously, a lot of different ways to tackle this. I think the headline, unfortunately, was not even how bad the game was. It was how insulting it was that Devondre Campbell decided that he just wasn't going to show up for us anymore. What were your general takeaways? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, about the game, it felt like death by 1,000 paper cuts because it just was like the team was stuck in quicksand, maybe the offense more specifically. And we knew the rain was going to be a factor, and we knew it was going to be an issue for them to be able to have a bunch of, high-flying offense and stuff like that. But I felt the defense did a pretty solid job of keeping touchdowns off the board. But when it came time, it just felt like they just kept falling short whenever it mattered most. And it kind of was emblematic of this season. and kind of a fitting way for the season to kind of, again, like you mentioned in the intro, they have like a 0.1%, but it's effectively over. And, it was just kind of like, yeah, this seems par for the course. And then when you talk about the Devondre Campbell situation, I think that actually was a welcomed kind of distraction, because I think it channeled everyone's anger of the year, and we just floated straight into Devondre Campbell because we were angry about the game. The game wasn't good. There's a lot of things to be angry about with the 49ers' own individual's performance, but I think the Devondre thing it sparked everyone after just a really rough year, and we're just like, oh, look, the Devondre Campbell punching bag. Let's start teeing off.
God, that's so true. I need to hit you with the yes, sir. Hold on.
Yes, sir.
It's because we love this team, and Devondre Campbell is kind of like, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
exactly. Like,
first of all, I was shouting, who the fuck is this guy? Most of the time he was on the field because he probably wasn't doing his assignment right. And then he has, which exacerbates the audacity for him to be the one to just say, oh, I'm too good for this. I'm not putting my business decision. Listen, buddy, get ready to speak fucking McDonald's French fries, because no team wants a piece of you, brother. No one's going to want to hire you as a coach. That is the antithesis of leadership. He wants to be a model. I wish him the best at his modeling career. The new face of quitting, nicotine spokesman, Devondre Campbell, eat fucking shit. Awful. Ugh. Okay, got that out of the way. Now, with that being said,
you needed to get it off the chest, man. I mean, like, I think it's like a situation where, fans, even the internal folks, like the executives, coaching staff, players, like, yeah, we've been a dumpster fire, but this is our dumpster fire. Like, don't you disrespect our dumpster fire.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to quit, it's not going to be Devondre Campbell. I mean, like, come on, man.
Totally. This is our dumpster fire. You don't deserve to be near this. You don't deserve the warmth of this dumpster fire. Go find another dumpster to set on fire. This is ours. So true. And look, there's plenty of bummer to go around with respect to the performance. I mean, Brock Purdy, just not his best game. It was actually his second worst game as far as his passer rating is concerned. Threw an interception, missed a couple of throws that could have been touchdowns if they were on target. C'est la vie. Debo, another lackluster performance after kind of being a little upset and vocal about it. At least we had yet another redeeming game from Kittle. I think when we talk about who's in or who's out in the future, it's hard to imagine a future without Kittle. I mean, I think this year, if anything, has been so exemplary of how critical he is as far as making up the sort of moral, spiritual tapestry of what this team is supposed to be about. And then, Fred Warner, of course, 15 tackles, which was hella performance considering that he's on a bum ankle right now.
Yeah, I do appreciate what George brought to the table. I think when you think of guys who deserve that forever Niner tag, he's definitely one guy that absolutely comes to mind. I think he embodies, why the 49ers. And I think talking about the Devondre Campbell situation, I think what that shined light on is that the team still has their culture. Like, they still, even though it's kind of been a just god-awful season, they still got each other's backs. And when you turn on them, they all collectively said the same exact thing. They all had the same exact vibe. And I feel like George Kittle's like just right there at the top of that. He's so ingrained into this team's DNA. I mean, you think about, he was part of the first draft class. Kyle Shanahan drafted him in the 5th round in 2017. And he's just been that guy, pal. And I just really hope that, I actually am viewing this year kind of like a contract year. And I'm sure not a lot of people have maybe wrapped their heads around that potential thought process, but he's only got 1 year left on his deal, and he's looking at a $22 million cap hit next year. My hope is that they extend him this offseason They're able to basically disperse that cap hit over multiple more years and make him a forever Niner. I just feel like he's the gold star of the San Francisco 49ers leaders. And, and amidst a bad year for the whole team, he continues to stand out as, just one of the best players in the league.
I agree. And the hope is that, he has that same mutual desire to want to stick around. I mean, because you're right. I mean, I think in order to make the puzzle pieces fit as efficiently as possible, an extension of Kittle with a restructure up front is going to be pretty essential. I think a lot of the conversation that's been circling around Purdy right now is sort of about that. And it's actually, you know what? Let's actually segue to that topic, which is, where do we go from here? Obviously, the conversation right now very much centered around the quarterback position. Let's just assume, because I think it's safe to assume, that priority number one is to extend Brock Purdy. I'm saying that from the perspective of the organization. I happen to believe that's probably the best bet from my perspective. But if that is going to happen, a lot of the sage wisdom that I have clung to the most has been, if that is to be the case, the deal has to somehow, some way, we need to figure out how to still structure a team around this quarterback if we are going to pay him that much money. I do believe Kittle would be a very important piece of that. But aside from that, where do we go from here?
Well, I agree 100%. I think Steve Young actually just talked about it today on the Dan Patrick show. What he's saying is like, yes, Brock has earned the payday, but you also don't want to put yourself and your team in a position.
Your audio kind of cut out a little bit.
Can you hear me?
You sound like I feel like I'm a fighter pilot and you're like in my headset.
Does that change anything?
Little bit.
Check.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I think basically the situation around Brock, and I think all those points are, I think the main fear of 49er fans, right, is we've loved Brock and we loved everything he's brought to the table, but the fear comes from paying him top of market contract and not being able to build a sustainable team around him. When a lot of people look at Brock as being, weapon dependent, meaning got to have your Kittles, got to have your Ayuks, got to have your CMCs. And to a certain extent, every quarterback is like that, but there's varying degrees, right? And when we look at Brock, he's absolutely a master of the offense. One of his superpowers is being able to process and read defenses and get the ball out quickly. But one of the things that we've kind of seen him add to his tool belt is the ability to make plays outside the pocket, escape and use his legs. But I think at the end of the day, still with all of those things, and even this being a down year for him, you still want to be able to build a team and be able to retain guys like Drake Greenlaw is going to be up for a contract extension. Talanoa Hufanga has really proved himself to be very valuable to this team with him being re-entered back into the lineup. You got to get some offensive line help. What are they going to do at center? What are they going to do at guard, tackle? How are they going to address these things? Is Deebo Samuel's future with the 49ers? And, how do you continue to add weapons and be competitive year in and year out? So I think that's just really the big debate, right? Is when you stack him up against the market, he's better than Trevor Lawrence. He's proven to be better than Tua. But those guys are making 55 per year. And I think that scares a lot of people to kind of think that, we could be paying Brock somewhere in that range. I hope it will be something that is mutually beneficial for both sides, structured in a way where you can move the cap around. And we know Parag is a wizard when it comes to building out loopholes and being able to, weave in a, massive contract of Brandon Ayuk and pay Brock Purdy and some of these other guys. So I think I think the fear just comes around not being able to build the pieces around Brock and whatever contract he's going to get.
Yeah, and look, I think there's this running theory of well, Brock is a man of faith. There's no way he would want to command too much money. Look, he is faithful to the market. All right, he worked real hard to get to where he got for very little money. All right, so he deserves to get paid. I think Richard Sherman, if you had a chance to sort of listen to that clip of him talking about the situation, this is the business, baby. What are you talking about? We're not gonna get away with a $30 million sweetheart deal. The hope is that he's willing to play ball on how the contract is structured. That's really what it's going to come down to. And truthfully, in that situation, I do think that there may be wiggle room there. I don't think it's any surprise to Brock Purdy that having weapons around him serves him greatly in the pursuit of quarterback excellence. But let's be honest. He's going to command a paycheck, whether it's us or whether it's someone else. Because at the end of the day, he's gone to the Super Bowl. He's won playoff games. He has demonstrated, for the most part, that he has been a very effective quarterback. And look, the last game he just played, lowest completion percentage of the entire season, second lowest passer rating of the season behind the Chiefs game, which also sucked. But with that being said, look at the full body of work. I am not yet convinced that there are many better options than him in the market. I don't know about rolling the dice on Aaron Rodgers. I don't know about rolling the dice on Kirk Cousins. What I do know is that you've got a young quarterback in Brock Purdy who's got 3 years in the system. And if you give him another year that doesn't feel like you're in the upside fucking down world, then maybe, just maybe, he can live up to the way he was playing, which, by the way, at one point was NFL MVP level. So I think we cool the jets. I think we come to grips with the reality that Brock Purdy will likely be our guy. And I pray that we can just that we can structure the future deal well enough that it can accommodate other assets and weapons to be able to be brought into the fold as well. Any last thoughts on this topic before we hop into the next segment?
I think you said it very eloquently. I think it all comes down to, like you said, the structure of the contract. We're so focused on the average because that's how these contracts are ranked, when in reality, it's how's the guaranteed money moved around and signing bonus and all of these different types of things. If they can structure it properly and be able to disperse the value of the contract over however many years, and to be able to make sure that we can make the APY look like it's ranked in the top 5, but we can massage the back end over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. To be able to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Back end over here, Brock.
Sir. So you make sure that you get it figured out and continue to add pieces and keep things rolling.
Yeah. And I need to have a quick conversation with John Lynch real quick. Just 1 second. John, I'm begging you, please don't stretch this out until the summer. Just get this done now. Just get this done like by January, by February, so you can hang out with your wife and we don't have to have these conversations about Brock Purdy getting paid in a training camp. I'm begging you, please, God, just don't do this to us. Sorry, I just had to have a conversation.
No, you're speaking for all of us.
Okay, good. All right, well, let's move on to the next topic. That was cathartic. I needed that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is true or false. Brad's a good judge of character. Well, he brought me on, so we'll see about that. But I do happen to think that he can litigate some cases for us. These are some 49ers hot takes that have been floating around. And we're going to play a little truth or false. All right? True or false? Cheaper Sam Darnold is better than Brock Purdy for next season.
I'm going false on that one. This has obviously been a huge debate, but I think that Brock fits what this team has built so much more better than what we've even seen from Sam with our own eyes in training camp, in real games, in preseason games. The one thing that Sam has going for him that Brock doesn't have is he's got an elite arm, and that's always been the case. Sam had that coming out of college, and that didn't stop him from just having a really difficult fall. So I don't think that a cheaper Sam Darnold is the way to go because the culture is already so ingrained with Brock and the leadership and tangible qualities that he brings to the table that making that rip and that switch, it just doesn't feel good. I'm gonna go ahead and say false.
Yeah, I'm going to say false too. Now, I say false with the addendum that I am really happy for Sam Darnold. I think he's starting to put it together for himself in a way that I think he has been waiting to do for years. I think he is getting a lot of respect and credit that, frankly, I don't even know if I was ready to give at the beginning of the season. And he proved a lot of people wrong. And I'm really happy for him. He's performing very well. There's a very real chance that Sam Darnold not only could make it to the Super Bowl, maybe he could win it. But I think it's false because at the end of the day, I do believe Brock Purdy was playing at an extraordinary level when everything was clicking. And it's hard for me to use this year as a barometer for ultimately his performance when we have sort of 3 years of a body of work and the previous 2 were stellar. So it's not an easy false. It's not a false without giving credit where credit's due, but it is a false. Right. Brock Purdy over cheaper Sam Darnold. All right.
And I'm also one of those people that were proven wrong. I called him a bust coming out of college. So I kind of have maintained that thought process, and it was never about the physical tools. It was always about the kind of processing element of it, but he's played phenomenally and he deserves the credit.
100%. I was the same. I'll be real. Debo will not be a 49er next season. True or false?
True. He will not be a 49er next season. To be honest, I've been preparing for this all year. It's like back before training camp even started, just because for the simple fact is he's heading into the same situation with Christian McCaffrey, with Trent Williams, with Brandon Ayuk, now Brock Purdy, guys who are still under contract but don't have guaranteed money. I think it's been pretty crystal clear that the way the NFL works is that if pretty much the majority of the time you're not going to play on a deal with no additional years or guaranteed money. That calls for the restructure and that calls for a reworked deal. So I've already been operating under the set of circumstances that when they paid Brandon Ayuk, that was like, oh, the 49ers have made their decision. They already shopped him they shopped Debo during the draft. Who knows if they shopped him at the deadline? But I think the signs are there, and we see it with the contract. We've seen the 49ers have already toyed with it. So I do think that this is the last year. But I thought that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is, well, here's where it gets tricky, and this is actually why I might say, oof, this is tough. This might be the toughest true or false on the whole episode. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna say false. I'm gonna say he is gonna be on the team next season, because I am not sure. With the caveat that there is a restructure, because I am not certain that Brandon Ayuk is going to be 100%. I'm not sure if they're going to have questions around that. And at least if they've got someone they know that they can bank on, maybe they can restructure, maybe they can keep them. I'm going to say false if they can restructure. So false. But look, I could see it going any way. If he gets traded, and you know what sucks is that if he does get traded, the time to do it was the draft. The time to do it was the draft. Because allegedly, were we going to get like a second or even a first? Is that what I heard? The draft capital would have been substantially more than it is now. Maybe we got even a third. I don't know what we're going to get now. I don't know. But I'm sure it's not going to feel
basically trying to get someone to take on his contract, right? To give him that contract opposed to you, and that already lowers the trade capital, right? When another team has to take on a player to then pay him, that already substantially knocks the value of that deal, because they're basically saying, all right, we'll pay him, but we're not going to give you max value for that. So that's where it be. I think it's going to be really tricky with Debo, honestly.
I think so.
But we'll have to see how it plays out.
So last one. Actually, just kidding. There's two more. This will be Nick Sorensen's final year as defensive coordinator. True or false?
I'm going to say false. I think Nick Sorensen will be back next year. Actually, Aponte, friend of the show,
Yes, sir.
also spoke about this today when we did our live together, and we just talked about the vote of confidence that Sorensen is getting as of late, and how the defensive issues feel less scheme related, more execution related, opposed to last year with Wilkes, right? The whole thing with getting Wilkes out of the booth onto the sideline, multiple games where Kyle Shanahan has to call timeouts to ice his own defensive coordinator. I just feel like there's more synergy with Sorensen. Maybe, he's a first-time DC. You got to cut him a little bit of slack. And on top of that, it seems like the players have responded to him, whereas it didn't seem like the players were responding to Wilkes. So, and I think the defense has gotten better. And then Talanoa comes back. You see Drake Greenlaw come back. You're getting guys healthy, and we look much better when we have starters come back at every single level of the defense. And you're like, I see differences. It hasn't been a successful year for the 49ers by any stretch of the imagination, on defense included, but I see different issues than what I saw with Wilkes, where it's less like straight up DC related and more, all right, come on, guys, we got to tackle. We got to wrap up. Coach can't go out to tackle. He can't do that. He can't, avatar into your body and go tackle for you. You got to do it. He's going to put you in the position to be successful, and you got to execute. I think he's been putting his guys in the position as best he can. I just think they haven't been executing. So I put that less on Sorensen, more on the players, opposed to last year, where they were more healthy, and the scheme was so weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think similar to the situation with Devondre Campbell, you're just looking for a vessel for all your frustration when it comes to certain issues.
Correct.
I have had questions. I still have some questions, but I don't believe that going into another year with another new defensive coordinator is the answer, so long as the folks on defense have their vote of confidence in him. Look, I don't know if any better answers are going to be out there. I think if there was an offer that was too good to refuse, as far as a talent that just happened to be right place, right time, who knows? Anything could happen. In this case, I will say false. This will not be his final year as defensive coordinator, but keep an eye out. You don't know who's going to be available. You don't know who may think they can take this defense to the next level, but I don't believe the optics would be phenomenal if they go out searching for this again. We'll see. I do believe you're right. I do believe that this has been a lot of performance-related issues. One could say, well, doesn't that start with the coach? But there have been I'm more interested in finding another solution for special teams than I am for defense right now. So I'm just going to say that.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right. Last question. Re-signing Greenlaw should be a priority. True or false?
I think true. I also think that comes with a caveat of what does that look like? I think because he is coming off the torn Achilles. I mean, we saw him play like he was lights out. I mean, one of the more electric player returns I think I've ever seen. Them putting him last behind Fred Warner on the intros and the stadium just going absolutely insane, and then just watching him just go out of body and just turn into a menace. And like there was one play where he had to go sideline to sideline, and he cut and ripped off D Winters so he could go make the tackle. I was like, God, I miss this guy, man. And he gets up and he starts, staring at the Rams sideline like, I'm here. What's good? I'm just like, dude, I missed you so much. I didn't even know how much I missed you until I think that was his first tackle back, the one that I'm referencing. And dude went crazy. And I just think that when you talk about locker room culture, you talk about leaders, you talk about the intangible qualities of players. Yes, we can get entrenched in, oh, he's getting older, he's coming off the injury, we need to get younger, we need to retool, Dre to me just seems like such a glue guy, like a guy that you pair him up with Fred Warner, and those two make synergy together. They make art on that football field, very violent art, but it's like sometimes, you need those types of guys, and they're not easy to find. And we've seen that, look at Devondre Campbell, look at the 49ers trying to bring in guys like D Winters who are still trying to get up to speed, but not quite all the way there. And it's just like, obviously the amount and the figure will matter, but man, if you can keep Dre, he just feels like the soul of this defense. It was like he returned. It was like, oh, we're back. Like it feels like this is what it's about. Now we had some busts on the back end, and it wasn't great, but you could really feel his presence on that field, and it was just like, yeah, I seen enough. bring him back.
I mean, I think it should be a priority. I think you're right. I mean, obviously the money's going to talk, and let's be clear. I don't think Dre Greenlaw is going to take any sweetheart deals. I mean, he is murder for hire. If you pay him what he wants and everything looks good and the fit seems right, he will show up to your city and he will murder people, figuratively, of course.
Absolutely.
That's who he is. Well, he literally said, "What do you want for Christmas?" I want some money. He wants to get paid.
Absolutely.
And he should. He's our Draymond Greenlaw. Like he instigates a tone of violence that makes defenses intimidating. Fred Warner does too. Look, let's not get it twisted. Fred Warner, phenomenal player. For a minute, he was playing like Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. But there is a different je ne sais quoi to how Greenlaw will destroy your soul. And it's the minutia of that on top of his engine, his motor, on top of, frankly, how he performs in tandem with Fred, that makes him a very, very valuable piece of this defense. If they can keep him, if they can make it work, God willing, please keep him around, because that type of energy, frankly, has been missing all year. And I think it's desperately needed on this team one way or the other.
Yeah, I think you're right, 100%.
So, we got B. Lauren says he makes football painful on the offense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Exactly. Need that so bad. Greenlaw favorite songs is Body Bags by Llama Llama. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. We got a game we got to play against the Dolphins.
Yes, sir.
I am just hoping everyone has a good time. At this stage, I have relinquished the hold of playoff aspirations. I have freed myself from the shackles of projecting my own expectations on this team. I am just looking for a nice little bounce back. When you look at this game, what are you looking for?
Do you feel lighter because you have released that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
expectation?
It's gone.
I
It's
feel,
gone.
I feel the same way. Like
I
I'm
wake
just
up
like,
easier. Lower back hurts less. I'm nicer. I say hello to my neighbors now. I didn't used to.
smile more.
Yeah, I smile more. I'm finally doing my Christmas shopping.
Yeah, no, I feel you 100%. Like I was thinking about that before we came on, and just like I'm like, you know what? I'm more at peace with what this year is because I think this year was such a roller coaster ride of up and down. Like, what are we? Who are we? Are we a playoff team? Like, one day we would look, or one week we would look like a playoff team. The next we'd look like the worst team. And it was like, who is this? Who are these San Francisco 49ers that we love so much? And it was just, it became stressful trying to discern who they are or why they're struggling this week opposed to that week. And, it is what it is. It was a stressful year, a lot of up and downs, but it does feel a little bit freeing. And I wonder if they feel that way inside with the Dolphins coming up. And it would be the most on brand 49ers thing to come out and look the best they have looked all year the next 3 weeks and win out and just like, oh, we're back. And like, you're like, oh, well, too bad we don't have a shot at the playoffs, but hey, we got good vibes going into the offseason. Hopefully those vibes continue into a healthy contract negotiation season, and we start out next year ready to go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're so right. And here's the thing. This is sort of the conclusion that I've come to. I have been waiting all season for our identity, for like what is the makeup of our, like, who are we? Like, what is our personality? Truthfully, I don't think we have seen it. I don't know who we were supposed to be, but these last games, it effectively needs to come down to, what are we not? We are not a sucker ass team. Like, we are not willingly going to tank for a pick. We are not going to show up on that field and roll over for anybody. I don't care if it's the Dolphins. I don't care if it's the Eagles. We are not going down without a fight is sort of what it has to be at this stage. If you want to inspire any sort of confidence that this team has any dog in it, collectively, because we've seen individual dogs, but this team needs to prove what they are not. Extracting the cancer that was Devondre Campbell, will that have washed away some of the sort of malignant energy that was sort of coursing through that locker room? I don't know. But I would sure like to see a response from our quarterback, who I'm sure would love to show that he is not worth less than $50 million, or our defense that would like to prove that their defensive coordinator is not supposed to get fired because of them, or our kicker or special teams proving that they are not the worst special teams unit in the league. We need them to prove to us what they are not, because they didn't show us who they were supposed to be. So at this stage, when I'm watching these games, I'm prepared to walk away and just not pay as much attention to the TV as I would have earlier in the season. But I'd rather sit down and watch these folks fight. I'd rather sit down and watch them play a game like they haven't played all season, and have to sit there like, where was this all year? That's okay with me. Give me that a few more times, and then we'll call it a wrap. And then at least they can go into the off season and look at each other and say, no, we still got it. This season was just fucked up. And that's okay. But if they limp into the offseason, if every game is like, oh, like, sorry, like 3-12, like, I guess, like, we'll get it on the next one. Like, we've only got, what, 3 more next ones? Like, let's just show us who you aren't at this stage, because I'm really hoping you aren't sorry ass, collectively. Because I know you've got dogs on the team. Who are we as a team, what are we not? We are not going to be a sorry team. That's how I feel. I don't want us to fall into a trap of being like, well, it's already over. I can feel that way. I don't want them to feel that way.
Can you do me a favor and can you hit the applause
Oh, sure.
track? Because beautifully said. Like literally you gave me goosebumps a couple times because I 100% agree. You know, it's not going to be popular amongst the fan base if the 49ers win out games because you're going to hear, "Oh, we lost the draft position. We're going to lose out on Gentry or like whoever." Like where they're going to talk about, "Oh, well now this made us worse." But in reality, if they win out and if they show heart and they show, like you said, the fight, that's you can tangibly take that and take that momentum and build on that into the offseason program and come out like, yeah, we're still these dogs. Like we're still about that life. And I think that's what they need to prove to themselves is they need to prove that they still got it. And just like you said with Brock, we've talked about it. These next 3 games, he's playing every throw, every snap is going to be magnified. Are you a $50 million quarterback? Are you $60 million quarterback? Are you 30? So there's still stuff to play for. And inside that locker room, tanking for a draft pick isn't even a thought process. Yeah, let's lose games so someone can come in here and take my job. That's not at all how they.
Yeah.
So I 100% loved everything you said. I echo everything you said. You hit it right on the head.
You know who doesn't agree though? Robbie439. But that's okay. I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you. I'm only saying this because I'm on camera. Secretly, I'm like, we better tank this fucking season, man. I'm trying to get a good draft pick.
Get a top 15 pick.
I'm trying to get a top 50 pick, man. I'm just lying to everyone, making them think I'm a team player. So, and you know, look, if they fight and if they have enough of these games where it's like, oh wow, like they're playing like they'd never played before. I mean, there's still that 0.1% chance they could accidentally oopsie their way into the playoffs thanks to the NFC West being very suspect. But let's just focus on lowering expectations for the playoffs and heightening expectations for how much we can fight. I sound like a therapist. I'm just vocalizing what I need. I'm vocalizing what I need to hear.
Yeah, I needed to hear it too. So I appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's move on to my last piece here, which is also kind of therapy, which is affirmations. Boop. Nice. Okay. If you have not seen this show before, I got bad news. It's gonna get really peaceful. And it's going to get really calm and all the things that you love about Twitter. It's not going to be that. It's going to be really nice. It's going to be the opposite of Twitter. All right, let me lower the volume. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, this is affirmations. We will find people, players, people who are not even in football, really, if you want, to say nice, kind, encouraging words about. And Brad, you are my guest. I'm also the guest on your channel, but I would like you to start. Let us know, who would you like to give your first affirmations to?
All right. Can we turn the volume up just a little bit?
Oh, turn my headphones up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All I need is one mic.
There we go. Needs to get me in the vibe. I'm going to start with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has been under immense pressure this season, coming off a Super Bowl loss. And understanding that a lot of people had very, very high aspirations for this season, not only for him personally, but for the overall team. And unfortunately, fell short. But I appreciate at least the fight of him showing up week in, week out, under duress, and being able to continue to pick himself up off the turf and keep slinging it. And hey, sometimes it doesn't bounce your way, and you can learn from that. You can get better, but stay the course. Keep building. Put the blinders up.
Hell
and
yeah.
Just keep after it.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
Get your money, King. Get your money. You've done a lot of great things for us. Don't forget that. We haven't. I would like to give affirmations to Jordan Mason. You got injured at a weird time. And you got injured and you had an excellent season during a weird season. And I want you to know that I didn't forget. I didn't forget that you led the league in broken tackles. I didn't forget that you were doing phenomenal for us. When we got the news Christian McCaffrey was not going to be with us most of the season, I think a lot of us had probably more concerns about the running back position than we really needed to. And I want you to know that was because you performed phenomenally. And you have been patient, waiting all these seasons for this chance. And it sucks that you were unable to sort of finish the season that you started so strong. But just know that I appreciate you and that I hope you're healing up and that I hope you get all the money you deserve some way, somehow.
Yes, sir.
All right. My next one, I'm gonna send out this affirmation to our rookie starting right guard, Dominic Pooty.
Hell yeah.
There was no expectations for this young man to start at all this season. Not one. And injuries started early in training camp. Burford goes down, Feliciano goes down, and he enters the starting lineup and he never looks back. He continues to work on his craft and get better day in and day out. And as he continued on, he really proved to be a phenomenal player. And the future is bright for Dominic Pooty. And I am just appreciative of the 49ers being able to snag a gem on the offensive line.
Yes, sir.
God, that's so real. What a gift Pooty is to us at a really important position. So Pooty, we love you. This one goes out to a bigger name, someone who's already got some credentials. This one goes to George Kittle. George, first of all, thank you for the battle axe. I will never forget that. So, jot that down. For those who don't know, he signed a battle axe and shipped it back to me. It's a legend. We honestly, if it wasn't for you, I would have so many questions about the fabric that makes up that locker room. You showed time and time again that you were ready to score, that you were ready to win, that you were ready to commit yourself to the violence and the art of this sport in a way that we needed so desperately. You were like the breaths of oxygen out of our snorkel as we were drowning in this mess of a season. And for what it's worth, I think you're one of the MVPs of this season with respect to the 49ers. You and Jawan Jennings, just absolutely so reliable for us. Want to make sure I give him a shout out too. And dude, I hope you're a Niner for life. I really do. Because this season showed who you were when times weren't good. And I needed to see that from somebody. So I appreciate it. I recognize it. And I hope you have a great holidays.
Yes, sir.
All right. Give me one more.
All right. I think for our final, or my final affirmation of tonight, I think I got to look towards Talanoa Bufon.
Oh.
You know, he was casted out, I think, by this fan base. I think that they were ready to move on. And as we know, these players, they see these things, they hear these things. And when you're coming back from a torn ACL and you're just doing whatever you can to get back on that field, and in the first game back, you severely injure your wrist to the point where you can't even play. And then you got to go back to work, back to rehab, and you're off the field again. And you keep working and keep working to the point where they say, you know what, wrap up my hand, put it in a club, because I'm going out on that field and I'm going to go fight for my brothers. Devondre Campbell,
Hell yeah.
take notes.
Out of here.
And Talanoa proved that his communication, his leadership was missed. And to be able to fight back through all of that, I'm appreciative of you, Talanoa, and let's see what the future holds. Hopefully with the 49ers. If not, nothing but respect.
I agree. I will admit I was one of the people who wasn't so sure. But again, this season has unearthed the gems of the folks who are ready to fight and be team players. Last one. This one will be a little controversial, I guess. Oh. No, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do this one. John Lynch. You got that dog in you. We needed to see it. Yes, this is the one. I want to do this one. John Lynch, thank you for showing. You showed that you were not just like, shucks, we're here to play good football. We want to put a great team together. All reports from what I heard is you came down and you let them know what fucking time it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Devondre
Yes,
Campbell.
Sir.
Fuck out of here. I needed that fight from you too. And honestly, I think the players needed to see it. I think it would have been a real sad, sorry story if you'd gone down there and been like, Devondre, gosh, like, you think you could play a little ball for us? Like the 49er way, No, you went down there and said, get the fuck out of here. And I needed that. I needed the pettiness of you wanting to take every dollar out of his pocket and keep him as unemployed as humanly possible. Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Yes,
John Lynch, I hope
sir.
you have a wonderful holidays. I hope you don't have to send any tweets during Sunday Mass. I hope you enjoy your fucking new year because you deserve it. I'm proud of you for showing that you are deep down a real big dog when it comes to handling the disrespect that Devondre Campbell demonstrated on that last game. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you, John Lynch, for showing that you care about this team.
Yes, sir.
And let the music fade out. Perfect. Great. All right. Ladies and gentlemen. Well, I know. I didn't even plan that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is affirmations, and this is also the end of the show. Brad, I really appreciate you so much. You're the man. You're a gift to this fan base. I love your positivity. I love your hustle. I love everything you're doing. So I just want to extend my gratitude, my thanks to you very much. Hope you have a great holidays.
Appreciate that, brother. And of course, I'm thankful for you. And I love your freaking show. Like, dude, you have me dying with Kyle 5000. Your creativity is unmatched in this space, and we need more eyes on Sourdeath Sam. My guy Patrick, make sure you go sub to the channel. You have to, because we got access.
Yes, sir.
Forever, because it's the greatest 49ers content around.
Hey, thank you, man. Hold on. What's happening here? Shameless plug. All right, everybody, please go to youtube.com/@Sourdeath Sam. Go ahead and subscribe to me, comment, write me nice letters, do whatever you got to do. youtube.com/@Sourdeath Sam. That felt good. All right, Brad, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to just let everyone know that I love them, but I'll pop you off, then I'll pop off myself. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Folks, if you're new here, thank you for watching. If you're one of the OGs, thank you for staying with me. Going to be a crazy holiday season. I got to mix up some dates to make this show work, so stay tuned for that. But please, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Love you all very much. This team sucks, but that doesn't mean we have to be mean to each other. So there you go. John Lynch, thank you for being a G. 49ers, let's win a game. All y'all, see you later.